are going we are going live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey guys, welcome back. We're doing another podcast this week. We are definitely looking at religion, which is a very touchy topic. So I kind of know you guys might cringe at a couple things, or you might feel a certain kind of way. Definitely leave the comments below. Today we have two very special guests. We have Mr. Saggis, and we also have Myisha. I believe that's what
Yeah.
they wanted to be introduced as. Real quick before we get into the subject at hand, tell us where you from, and tell us about your background when it comes to religion itself. We could start with the young lady, of course.
Hello, everybody. My name is Myisha, also Catafly 87. I live in Brooklyn now, from Long Island. My background with religion is really, you growing up, you have to go to church, you have to go to church. And as I got older, I realized you don't necessarily have to go to church to understand where God is. And then you just start going to church on the important days like weddings, Easter, baptism, So that's my real history with church.
And Mr. Saggis, tell us what you about, where you from, and of course your experience with religion.
Well, my name is Mike. My name is Saggis. Actually, I'm from Brooklyn, New York. Um, basically, I grew up as a Catholic. I went to church on Sundays as usual, as most people during my time did. We went to church on Sundays and all the major holidays. So as I got older, I developed my own beliefs and my own way of looking at things through religion. And though we may not always agree what religion is or what it should be, I found that my faith keeps me going. And now I'm part of a church in the Bronx called Throgsneck Community Church, and I'm an active member of this church. I'm also a head of the security team as well as head of the usher team. So I found that the church has played a very vital part in my life, and important to go into church, which we'll probably elaborate a little bit on today.
Oh, I definitely have to say thank you for both of you explaining y'all background when it comes to religion, as well as a small part about who you are. I guess following the trend, I will do the same. So pretty much, I grew up in a very religious household. Gotta always praise the Lord. We went to church forcibly every week. Uh, and I've learned through just gaining knowledge, period, about how religion is supposed to work, what religion is, and how people should go forward using religion. Now, I'm gonna state something that might feel uncomfortable, especially for you, Mr. Saggis, because I know that I know for a fact you're a very religious man, but religion wasn't even made to uplift people. Now, I know that might be a little bit too forceful in the way I've said it, but factually, it wasn't made to uplift or gather people for unity of any kind. It was a way at its earliest to control a group of people. That's why state and government back in the days, especially, worked so well hand in hand. So at the bare minimum, looking at the history of religion, you could tell that the book, even though it was meant to be a good guideline, a Bible, basic instructions before leaving Earth, that's that. That's what it's supposed to be standing for. The Bible has a bunch of flaws. And the flaws is one, interpretation, the fact that anybody can read it and have a whole group of people read it and interpret it differently. Two, corruption, as well as people using the power of the Bible to enslave others, because the Bible on many occasions promotes slavery. So as black people, I wanna know why you would worship or practice a book that the grades are people. Now, yeah, like, fill me in. Maybe I could be wrong, but it's a discussion.
My take on that is similar to how people say the word nigga and how it was used in manner against us before when you add the hard er, and then we took it and flipped it with the a. The book is not necessarily written to make us better, to make us great, to agree with every view that's in it, but it's a guideline. And at times when people had nothing else to look forward to, you looked forward to the Bible. You worship what the word said. You had nothing else to look forward to, so why not believe in something that was written that was supposed to make you better? If you were already a slave and it said that, you know, certain parts of the Bible is about slavery, you maybe people took it as I'm already in this slave trade, I'm already in this, I don't know, this hardship. So why not look at the good pieces of the book and then maybe that time will pass too. So I take it as, yeah, it may not always be correct. It's not, I don't take the Bible as my end all be all. I take it as a guideline and I move forward with the pieces that I need out of it. But I don't agree with the whole book. Just like I don't agree with the N word being used, but we took it and flipped it. So I think as black people, we took the Bible and flipped it.
Myisha, I couldn't have said it. I agree with on the part of what you said, and that's the point that people misinterpret about the book. First of all, the book, the Bible itself,
Mm-hmm.
is arguably the most controversial pieces of paper
Of
ever in
course.
the world. Now, because somebody has used that for ill will, does not
Mm-hmm.
negate the fact that the book itself was not written for that. If you were to read the Bible and
Right.
passages in the Bible, like Naisha was talking about, it's basically uplifting people. Now, where there's been division
Right.
among the Bible has nothing to do with the interpretation of what the Bible said.
Right.
And they know that those who try to divide and use it for ill will, that they
Mm-hmm.
do that because they know the power of the Bible. They know
Right.
what the Bible can do. That's why when
Message
they
behind
were
it. Right.
enslaved, they wouldn't give black people Bibles back then because they didn't want them to read what was in it. They didn't want to, and when once we started to educate our minds with it, like she said, we flipped it. We realized that it wasn't to make us slaves. It wasn't a
If we were already slaves, okay, fine. So let's follow the other parts of it that say we're not slaves. That there is an end, there is a good, there is, another side of it. We're already slaves, so we already know that part. Where's the good part of the Bible? That's the part that I think people took and they loved and they focused on, and that's why we go to church,
exactly.
these houses, and worship. And we need something to believe in, so that's what
And
we're gonna believe in when we had nothing else.
when somebody, when you, like she said, and I love the way you said it, when somebody is taking everything from you, your name, your
Mm-hmm.
origin,
Right.
who you're supposed to be with, dividing families, taking your
Right.
children, church, which is separate from religion and altogether, but the
Yes.
Bible got us through the darkest times in our history.
Mm-hmm.
But we
And still
realized
that's
that this
today.
book, they didn't want us to have any knowledge at all.
Mm-hmm.
And we use that Bible we use the Bible as a guiding point to how we should live our lives. Is anything perfect? Nothing is.
Nothing.
And again, you can see by the way it's been used that nothing's perfect. But it shouldn't diminish its value because it's literally has changed the lives of billions of people. And it's
Mm-hmm.
also has maybe corrupted the lives of billions of people.
Of
But it's
course.
because of what's in there made people realize that the power is undeniable. And it has to be something there when, like you said, the KKK uses the cross as a symbol. But yet, when Jesus died, but yet they use that cross as a symbol to not only use the Bible to separate us and keep us down, but also use that Bible to lift them up. So that what does that tell you about the power of the Bible? That tells you something. That if they have to
Mm-hmm.
use if they have to use that to keep us down, they knew that us by us knowing what it stood for would uplift us at the same time.
Well, I think this is where we disagree, and
Because
I'll explain, right?
Yes.
If I greeted you, right,
Mm-hmm.
off the top, like we
Yes.
met on the street, and my first
Mm-hmm.
word to you was bitch, would you really want to
Mm.
have anything else to do with me?
Depends on your context. If it's like, bruh, bitch, you,
No,
no, I don't talk to you. But
they
is it in a loving way? Because at the end of the day, words, sometimes words are just words. People take words and
they make power out of it, right?
they, then you make power out of it, but at the same time, you can take the power out of that same word. It just depends. With me, it just depends. Take the power out of the word and it means nothing. But if you put all your power into it, it means everything to you. So it just depends. It just depends.
So, and Myisha, if I walk, if I just met Myisha today, and if I was to call her a bitch, excuse my language, and she
Mm-hmm.
knows that, and she knows that she's not, that
Right.
word
I'm
has
like,
no meaning
okay.
to her.
It has no meaning. Exactly. It has no meaning to me. So I'll be like, okay, so what's your problem? You think I'm a bitch? How was your day? You know, who licked the icing off your cupcake? Why are you so mad? Like, it has no power to me.
All right, I like that, but yeah, I'm gonna keep it real to you. Words do have power, regardless if you put them in. Yeah, like if you give it power, I'll explain, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's an old phrase called "the pen is mightier than the sword," right?
Mm-hmm.
That means that legislation, right, which are words, right, can put down and keep down a group of people. Now,
Of
regardless if you
course.
gave that power to those people, they still
Mm-hmm.
have the power to enslave you or make you less of the same person. Just to counter your argument, words have power regardless if you give them power or not. The
Of course.
the Bible itself, right? Even though it was meant to be good, it is led to the most amount of deaths of human lives, more than anything else on the face of this planet. Uh,
It's a double-edged sword. You got the good side and the bad side.
so
You
you
can still
tell
get stabbed with both sides, but which side are you going with?
So
it,
what does that have to do with the Bible itself? Because somebody misinterpreted it. It has nothing to do
it's
with
it,
what's
it,
real and what's
it,
not.
it's meant to be misinterpreted. It's
That's
meant.
Which is,
why I
I
mean,
agree
like,
with that. I agree with
yeah, well,
that.
maybe it's not fully understood, but that doesn't mean that. If listen, if no one fully understands it, so that means that they were doing it out of false pretense in the first place. So what does
So
that have to do with the Bible itself? What's truth and what's not truth is how you want to interpret it.
well, yeah,
Have you guys studied the Bible frontwards and backwards? Have you like really read it?
yeah.
I have,
I
I
had.
have, I have done it from time to time. I haven't done it in a while, but my wife, who's a staunch Christian, has
Mm-hmm.
has
Okay, so a
really
person like
explained it to me.
me
Uh huh.
that has never really read the Bible, and I kind of heard what people say about it, and I heard what people say about it, and then I read passages myself, and I take my own take on it. I think that's why I have a completely different view because it wasn't pounded into my head that this is the word, this is the word, this is the word. I kind of interpreted my own word from it.
And that's how it's supposed to be done. And that's the thing. Most people who tell you about it are really
Mm-hmm.
expecting you not to read it. And then once you read it, you
I really
realize that a
do.
lot of things that people tell you about it is not true. If you
Right.
read it, I mean, whether somebody says, well, in the name of God, we're going to do this, or in the name of God, we're going to do that, doesn't make them right. Because they use it like that, but once you read it, you realize that, hey, that's not what they said, but that's what they plan on using, has nothing to do with what is said or what was written. And that's the thing, because every religion, Pat, Pat, and you can agree with me, every religion, different religion, comes from one book. Is that agreeable?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
definitely wasn't the Christian Bible, but yeah, definitely.
Right. So that makes it. So basically, you have Muslim, you have the Quran, which is the interpretation of the Bible itself. Buddha, Protestant, Catholic, you name it. It all started from one book. So that basically tells you that everybody who read that book and interpreted the way they wanted to understood there was some truth in that book, and they had to redirect that truth to their own beliefs, which makes it what it is. So that's how deep the Bible is. Whether you want to believe in religion, yes, I understand how it can be very perplexing, but it also makes you realize that there's something in there that has to be truth. For people to take something that somebody written 2,000 years ago and change it in so many different ways to keep people, even in slavery, They didn't want us to read the Bible. So they said, this is what God said. We're supposed to make you slaves. Once we read that book, we no longer wanted to be slaves. That's where the old movement came from right there. And they said, wait a minute, you told me one thing, but it says something totally different in this book. What is it? What's going on here? And then we opened our eyes with this. So granted that nobody ever, we don't want everybody can't believe in it, and it's understood. I can see why some people have questions. I still have questions about the Bible and God, the existence of spirituality. I wrestle with it every day, but I'd rather have that in my life and be wrong and feel a certain peace than to not have it at all and just question all that life has to offer with no kind of foundation whatsoever.
Right.
And that's what it's really all about. Believing in something more than yourself.
You know what's funny about religion, and it's I think it brainwashed a lot of people, and I'll explain why I'm saying that. Right?
Well, I believe it. I believe that it did. I have no problem saying that. I really truly believe it has brainwashed some people. Just like things in life that we used to use for good have totally destroyed society in bits and pieces. Like cocaine used to be given to children.
What? How is cocaine used for that? How?
Well, in the past, people use forms of cocaine in medicine because they didn't know a better way of using it
Right.
to sedate a person. So like it sounds really messed up, but
I'm like, what? I never heard that before.
nah, it's factual. LSD used to be the biggest use in medical, like before 1960, if I'm not mistaken. And they,
Yeah, they used to use LSD to see if they can expand your mind and go into places of your untapped mind. LSD. Heroin used to be used to put kids to bed in the 1900s. Cocaine is what Coca-Cola was originally made of.
yep.
So things have always been used one way and then flipped on its dime, like she said, like Myisha said earlier, flipped and used for something totally different than what it is.
So my question to you, does does it negate the fact of where the word came from? Like a perfect example of this, gay used to mean happy. Now it means homosexual. Faggot.
No, wait, gay still means happy.
Right.
Now,
That's the
what you
definition.
use it
Yeah.
as, what you use it as, is on you.
No,
But gay means happy.
so if I told you right now, you gay,
It depends how you say it. What do you,
that's what I'm
have a
saying.
gay. If you say have a gay day, I'm thinking you say I'm having a great day.
Nah,
If you say
you are gay.
what I'm wearing is gay, that means you're implying that I'm gay, or is it gay, or is it in gay fashion mode? So it is interpretation.
Do you guys get where the problem is? You see, I just gave you a very light example.
I think the world is too sensitive.
Regardless if it's sensitive or
Everything
not.
is problematic. Everything is so problematic. Words, again, they mean things. It just depends on how you say them and what they mean and how people interpret them. When you say gay now, it's like, oh, you can't say gay if you're not gay. You can't say gay. You can say it.
I can't call nobody like I used to call kids. They used to call. Well, I grew up before you guys. We had a kid on the block. We used to call retarded because he really was slow. He was retarded.
Problematic.
And now you say, well, he's mentally challenged. No, back in 1975, that boy was retarded. You know what I'm saying? We change things. We do things differently. The way we eat, the way we're just more knowledgeable, and it's a good thing and a bad thing. But yes, Pat, you're right. Things have been interpreted away, and and that's the thing about the beauty of life is we don't always have to have the answers. Why can't someone believe in God without somebody saying, well, God doesn't exist? Why would you do that? That's stupid. Well, that's what I want to do. Then let me do it. Now, whether it's used for good or bad, that depends on the person. More people use good than bad, but the bad is highlighted. Why am I supposed to be persuade to say, well, that priest founded that young boy, so there is no God? That has nothing to do with it.
Oh wait, hold on. Like just based off of your example, why pray to a creature, right? That by the way, not everybody believes, so it's not a fact that he exists. It might be a fact to
Mm-hmm.
you personally that he exists. Why pray to a creature that lets these things happen in the first place?
That's not, see, that then again, that's why you need to then there you go. Then
No,
that's why
I
you
have a
read, because
question, but
even
why not? Why not? Why
why
not?
not? God,
Why
listen,
not?
listen. God has put us on our own will. What happens in this world is, see, if He solved your problem and said, "Well, I'm not going to allow this to happen," I bet you there'd be half the people saying, "Why not just let me do what I want to do?"
oh
The
no,
devil, the devil exists too. You know, spirits do exist, dude,
no.
and they're on both sides of the spectrum. You can't have good without evil, and good always prevails.
I strongly disagree with
That good doesn't
no.
always prevail.
It definitely doesn't.
How do you
There's.
figure?
What are you talking about? How you figure? You do realize that people get killed, and I'm talking about true innocents, people that have no business dying under any
You
circumstances.
can't, but you can't say that. You mean you have no business dying. You
But
can't do that.
but why not? Isn't death for those that believe in the afterlife? Because we're basing this on what, the Christian beliefs. Is that where we got? That's where we at. Because if I use other religions, you probably be very upset. Afterlife doesn't exist in every religion. You see
That
what?
just you asked the question. Okay, do you believe that there's an afterlife? Not everybody believes that.
Do you?
I don't know because I'm not there, so I'm gonna say no.
You gonna say no? Saggis?
That's the question.
Oh, do you believe there's an afterlife?
I want to believe there is an afterlife, but I think everybody has their own personal heaven.
I, I, all right.
And if that's something that I use to get me through life, because there's a lot of chaos in this world, just to let me know I didn't go through all of this trouble and all this headache for nothing. And if I believe there's something else that's gonna be better for me when I do pass on, let me live. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel about it. Whether I believe it or not, that's what I'm looking forward to.
and as nice as that would be,
It is. It's like thinking you're gonna hit the lottery one day. You play that number, you may or may not hit it, but you're looking forward to it.
you do know that's a double-edged sword also, because
It is.
somebody living in
So
ignorance,
is life.
it,
It's
like
not ignorant.
it definitely is, right? You're placing a strong belief in something that would be good for you, right? When there's a
Not
chance.
necessarily. I would say 50-50. That's where I'm at with it. 50-50.
How so?
Because I have no proof that there is anything else, but I want to believe, not based on the things I've been taught, but just going through life every day. Like all of the lessons that life teach me, I know there is something better than me out here. I know it is. I'm not placing a name on a God or a Jesus or a Buddha or whoever. I'm not placing a name. It could be a unicorn I look up to, but I know there's something bigger out here than me.
I can't even say that because that's not factual. You're saying that you know of
It's factual
something.
to me.
I
feel like it is.
then
Yeah.
that's an opinion. You have
But
to
Patrick,
go ahead.
but Patrick, the thing that really I need, not you to understand, but to understand where we're coming from, is this. It's not like you got proof that it doesn't exist.
Oh wait,
Yeah,
don't.
you don't have proof that it doesn't. You
You're
don't.
you're making a fallacy statement though. You're making.
You have no. Listen, Patrick. You have no proof that it doesn't exist. You have an opinion or a theory. That's what most things are, theories.
Prove it to me, right? Because
I don't want to. But that's the thing. That I don't want to. I don't feel like I have to prove it.
it's not a feeling. That's what I'm saying. Like you could believe that you identify as a puppy dog doesn't make it factually true. A lot of people want to use what they believe instead of what they interact with and what they see. Now, if you don't understand, go ahead.
So when you're having a bad day or you just need a little bit of faith and courage or something in your life, who do you say? Who do you say? I wish this would change. Or who do you talk to get your thoughts together when you're having a rough day?
The only person that matters,
You talk to
yourself. You have to.
Of course.
Yeah.
But you trying to tell me you never believed in Santa Claus?
No, my whole life. I'm not lying. My father is a military man. He does not believe in non-factual situations, and he forced religion on me. And I told him that God doesn't exist. And of course, he was furious, just like anybody that believes that God
Do you
existed.
think because it was forced upon you, you resent it and you don't want to believe any of it?
Far from it. I did research. I have to do research. Like anytime
But listen, no one's ever proved that he doesn't exist. No one's ever written that down.
So you want to know what?
God doesn't exist. Some of the greatest scientists in the world have said, and you can look this up. So they have changed their opinions. They realized that there is a connection between what's real and what's not.
Between science and religion.
Yes.
I listen. And here we go. Right, just with some straight facts from that argument that you just said. Right, it has been stated that Jesus, the man, has existed. If he's a supernatural son of God, maybe or maybe not. But according to science, right now, Jesus, the carpenter, has existed. Now that's something.
Who said that? Who said that he existed and that he and what? What you have? Do you have fossil discoveries of Jesus Christ that we don't know about?
Not me. Science has currently said. Go ahead.
No, I've heard that before.
That's real funny. I will give you the articles after this. I can't tab out because I have a video running in the background.
So tell me what you believe in. Tell me what you believe in.
Wait, you have an article that somebody written, right?
That a scientist written. That a group of scientists written. Go ahead.
You have an article that a group of scientists have gotten together and written, and you choose to believe, but you don't want to believe what somebody wrote in the Bible. That's my point.
What?
It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
It's far from the same thing. I'm gonna tell you why, right? Regardless of the Bible being what it is, it's supposed to be good, so you want to have a belief in it. Science rules our world. You can science.
No, it doesn't. That's not true.
Wait. What are you breathing right now?
Science is not rule. Science. You can't denounce faith. You can't tell people from all over the world and different religions. Now, religion is different. You're gonna tell 7 billion people in this world that they're all wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because of science.
What are you breathing? No, just tell me, right? You know how do you know how we got to that answer? We couldn't identify it, right? And we, through science, have given it that identification so you and I can relate to it.
No, time out. You through science discovered what it was. That you don't know you don't know how it came about.
Even if it didn't, we identify as air. Right? And you know what I'm talking about when I say air. You can't do that with religion. Number one, religion throughout the times, even if you wanted to be as close to the source as you possibly can, it is far from inaccurate because you're playing telephone and there's been very little actual documentation of the earliest days of religion practiced and written down. So to say that religion right now, to say that religion has a factual standpoint, especially when it comes to belief, would be fallacy. Because whenever somebody's arguing against the point, right, they have to give proof, right? Now, it goes both ways. So if you was like, there's no proof that God does exist, right? And I'm telling you that God does exist, there has to be some kind of proof that on either or. And I could easily tell you I don't feel and or see him, and a multitude of people don't feel and or see him, or can't produce something that he has done, regardless of how you want to believe it came about. So if
all I'm saying is, and I actually have to go because I got to get ready to come back to work tonight, Patrick.
Seriously?
But I'll say this, and I'll leave it at that. And this is really directed towards Myisha too, and it was really a pleasure talking to you, Myisha.
It was likewise.
My thing is this, and that's all I had to say about that. Throughout the beginning of the time, if this did not exist, everybody's been proving that it doesn't.
You kind of stopped talking for a second.
Hello?
Saggis?
Hello? Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, everybody's always trying to prove that it doesn't exist. Scientists, scholars, some of the great minds of our time have always been trying to prove that God doesn't exist. But all I'm saying is, despite all these efforts that people have been doing throughout the beginning of mankind, no one has convinced the multitudes that it doesn't. So is it so wrong for someone? See, is it so wrong for someone to say, well, what bothers my mind is if I say I believe in God, somebody goes, well, prove it, or do this, or do that, and I go, well, that's how I feel in my soul,
Right.
how I feel about my relationship with Him. No matter how I came about it, that's how I feel. That's how Muslims feel. That's how Arabics feel. That's how the Buddhists feel. That's how the Protestants feel. That's how the Catholics feel throughout the beginning of time. Despite the best efforts of man, who man had to chip on his shoulder to believe he has to know all the answers of the universe, the Big Bang Theory, science proved the dinosaurs with the fossils, and the world was flat. Despite all these incredible bits of knowledge, you can't convince, despite the factual things that hit now, these people have their facts. They wrote down their facts. They did all of this, and yet you got one half of the population that on this earth that says that's fine. I like what I read, but I believe in God. That just shows you the power that it just can't all be man. Maybe man just in his simplest forms doesn't need to know the answers. And that's really all I have to say, because I really can't convince someone what I feel.
Mm-hmm.
But neither can you convince me that I'm wrong. So who's the one doing all the work, trying to put their facts and their figures and their knowledge? Who are they trying to convince? They're not trying to convince themselves that what they know is real. They're trying to convince us that what we feel is not. And that's the problem I have sometimes with that.
That is true.
And that's all. And anyway,
I know you gotta go, and I really wish that we wasn't under such a constrained like time period. Because
you should pick a lesser topic next time. The religion's too deep, dude.
Yeah, it's supposed to be deep.
Even by saying we like what we like, we like what we don't like. Some people are going to believe in Santa. Some people are going to say my mama gave me those gifts. Is that cool? Like, is that cool? Can we just say that?
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool with me. I mean, listen, I remember telling my daughter there was no Santa. She cried for 2 days. I felt so bad. And I realized I didn't do that for her to enlighten her about the world. I was selfish and did it for myself. And that was wrong to take it to credit and make her feel. Can you not?
You cut out for a second. You there, Saggis?
I think he's gone.
My last topic is, are we that insecure to say, hey, there's no Santa, I'm Santa. Like,
it depends.
You know you bought that PlayStation 4. So why are you giving credit to someone else to make somebody feel happy? What's so wrong?
When kids get to a certain age, you tell them the truth.
You know what? I should have waited longer. I feel so bad.
Yeah, I think when they get to a certain age and they can actually believe.
Yeah, listen. I figured it out when I was 12 that there was no Santa. Well, at least my parents gave me 12 years of it.
Right, and you believe that. That's so weird. There's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with
it. You sure?
Listen, those 12 years you believed, you thought that it was special, right? And then when someone told you it was no longer special.
Christmas never been the same since.
Right, and it's the same thing with religion in the Bible. When you believe, you need something to get you through these tough days.
You do.
Something, man. Something.
Well, Pat, I'm glad you invited Myisha on to get into this one. This was good for me.
Yeah, I didn't want to have it just you and me, or like you got to have a third person perspective. And quite frankly, I like when the odds are against me. You know?
Well,
I'm very neutral.
I like that.
I'm neutral.
But you know what?
I hear what you're saying, but also I hear the other side. Hey, I believe in unicorns. You can't tell me nothing.
Amen, sister. But just make sure that next time we talk, it'd be a different topic, man.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but the problem is that we as a people don't talk about politics and we don't talk about religion because supposedly it's too
I
personal.
think, I don't mean to cut you off. I think before we have conversations about politics and religion, we need to be educated first. A lot of people don't know. They just go, like you were saying earlier, they just press Democrat because you think you program. Your mama did it, your auntie did it, your grandma did it, so Democrat.
No,
I
You need to
agree.
be educated.
I'll I'll talk politics next time because I've educated myself over the last couple of years, and I was in the dark for many years about politics.
Mm-hmm.
But I've done my reading, and I
I
started.
personally think it's all a scam, and whoever gets to the top first wins.
that's that,
There's some belief to that. That's not too far fetched.
no, it's not.
Right.
I'm not gonna get
Like
into today. Listen, I gotta go. This has been very great, Pat. I appreciate you inviting me on today, Myisha. It was great. I hope that I would definitely welcome you in future conversations.
Yes, thank you. I'll be around.
You're welcome. And tell the kids I said hello.
So,
All right, guys. Have a good night.
thank you.
Good night.
It's been a pleasure, man.
All right, man. The pleasure is mine. Thank you.
All right,
All right, brother.
all right. So, pretty much, I like even though this is a little bit shorter than I originally wanted, still was a really good podcast. It was mostly fun all around and information being slung at each other.
Right.
It's something that should have been happening naturally throughout people and whenever they're having any kind of conversation, but it's not.
Right.
People not talking about religion. People not talking about actual politics and how it's affecting you. You want to talk rather about Machine Gun Kelly and Eminem having a battle, but don't
But
know
who are those people?
those are entertainers.
I know, but they're not important. Is my point.
Yeah, I hear you, but like to a lot of people they are.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Like we talk about things that's not even important, not even remotely important. And we put so much a priority on it, yet we're not even talking to each other. We're talking at each other about certain subjects.
Definitely.
And I really want to cross that boundary eventually where I could just have a group of people, what I mean? Like get a large group of people and just talk about shit.
Of course, you could do that. I would be down to do that. That's actually kind of cool. You meet up somewhere and you have people like check your feelings at the door. We on a neutral playing ground. We just talk and leave your feelings at the door. Talk about how you feel at the table. Don't cross the line.
Yeah, you can definitely have a debate with somebody or a discussion without getting insulting. You see, once
people get in their feelings, they get in their bag. They don't. But it's okay.
Yeah, it definitely is, and I don't know why people are not taking this opportunity because I feel like and I hate using the term I feel because I feel is an opinion. There's nothing factual about it. Like regardless of how somebody thinks they know something, 2 + 2 equals 4. And yes,
right.
you could get 4 in different ways, but I'm telling you for a fact 2 + 2 equals 4, and it's widely recognized as such. Now, multiplication, division, you want to get complex? All right, cool, totally get it. But when we're talking about facts, we want to have it properly done as well as possible. And religion leaves a lot open, and of course, it requires too much time to really get into it. And I really wish that we had more tonight, but for what's going on now, I just have to say that I really enjoyed having you guys on the show, especially you articulated yourself very well compared to.
I'm very neutral.
It's good to be neutral, but
that's how I live my life. I see both sides and I take what I need from it and keep it pushing.
that's also a very dangerous lifestyle.
Nuh-uh.
Cause all right, so.
How so? You tell me it's green, I say it's green, but it looks a little blue. I might say it's yellow at the end of the day, and I'm cool with that.
And
as long as I'm happy with the decision I made.
So let me ask you a question. I'm gonna hit you with something a little bit harder, just like heavier than the color of something, right? So, if you were a neutral person, right? You and there was a situation that was going on, you wouldn't really speak. You would speak good things of both sides, because
It
you're
just depends on what the situation is.
but you're neutral, so
No, I'm neutral, meaning I'm going to hear both sides, but at the same time, I'm going to form an opinion, which is my thought on the two individual things coming together as one, which makes my opinion.
so you think
So I'm neutral in that sense. Like, I'm going to hear your side, I'm going to hear my side, and this is what I think about what both of y'all said, and that's what I think, and that's what it's going to be on my end.
Okay. So you're a neutralist in the terms of how information comes to you. So you would take both information from both sides, but you eventually pick a side.
No, well, you can say I pick a side, or I just come up with the solution.
Well, let's play this game. So,
Okay.
you for or against slavery?
Against slavery. What?
Yeah. You see how you see that's not a neutral. That's not a neutral ideal. That's not neutral at all.
Of course, every opinion in life is not. It just depends. Now, you're a black man. If I was sitting against with a white man, he might say I'm for slavery. You might say I'm against slavery. But me coming in, I understood where he was coming from because he wanted somebody to build his shit. He didn't go about it the right way. But he shouldn't have took our people. If you want to slave somebody, get your own people and leave us alone.
Oh, we all know that's not gonna happen. But no,
Of course, that's what I'm saying. Like, if it was that situation, it's like, of course, the white is gonna agree with slavery. You, as a black, is gonna say no. Hopefully, yes.
Well, hold on. Just to play neutral. No, because I'm.
Let's say you're for slavery.
Yeah, let's say I'm for slavery.
Okay, let's say it's. Well, why?
Why?
You want somebody to build your shit?
Let me tell you something right now, right?
You want somebody
without slavery, right? The America wouldn't be as great as it is today.
Oh God, you don't know that.
Oh no, definitely. I definitely know that. Because of the free labor, they were able to build so much off the backs of slaves.
America could have been one of those eighth world countries. It could have been other parts of the world.
But it wasn't.
Better.
But it wasn't.
But it wasn't. But you don't know that. You don't know what it could have been.
Wait. I'm only talking about how slavery is a good thing. And only based off of I'm able to play devil's advocate, regardless of how terrible a subject may be, right? There's a whole bunch of facts behind it that makes it either valid or not. So like slavery was great. We had keep some people, right, that didn't know better, right? They built our lands. They had food and shelter so they could live their lives. And those are facts. And as shit as the living conditions was for a slave, right? I could promote a whole bunch of good things about slavery, but it's all about picking a side. I know better than anybody else at picking that slavery was bad, but to be neutral is not always a good thing. That's my point.
It's not necessarily okay. Maybe I'm not neutral, but what I'm saying is I'm able to hear both, take my opinion, or listen to both sides neutrally, and form my own opinion out of it.
That's a lot better saying it than saying that you're a neutral person. Because being neutral is you see what you get my point?
Okay, I get your point.
Yeah, you don't want to be a neutral person. Like a neutral people, like yes, you can sit down and listen to somebody's opinion, right? And it's full respect and come to your own conclusions. That's how people should be doing it anyway. But a lot of people prejudged pick a side and then only follow it blindly, kind of like how Paul Ryan did with Trump because that's his party.
Well, it's just like going back to the Bible. People pick and choose what they want to believe in.
Yeah, you
for the Bible.
You have to look at the Bible entirely, and because everybody doesn't, they only pick and choose like the good stuff. The Bible is one of the best and worst books ever written. They condone child pedophilia. They condone slavery. They condone murdering of women. I shit you not. They condone murdering of women, right? That protected their husbands by attacking another man. These are like you could look at a book. Right? And I'm not even trying to crap on the Bible. The Bible itself has a bunch of great things inside of it. But to say that it was a good book, that's blasphemy. Like it is.
It's where you pick and choose what you need out of it.
that's
You
that.
live your best life,
So let
but
me
don't always take the negative pieces of it.
ask you a question, right? So it's kind of like, would you date a guy that murdered 50 people?
Why did he kill him?
To protect his family.
Uh, was his family in harm?
His family's in harm because of look, I'll make it a neutral statement. They were caught in the middle of a war.
They were caught in the middle of a war.
Yeah.
So he killed them.
So
They didn't kill him.
yeah,
Okay,
but it doesn't change the fact that he murdered 50 people.
that's fine. But do you want your family to die, or you want him to die? I mean, you want the people to die, or you want your family to die?
But the Bible says.
You can't pick and choose. That's why.
But you just literally said that you have to pick and choose.
You pick and choose what works for you. That's what people do. They pick and choose what them. You need something to get you and keep you going throughout the day, right? So you pick and choose the good message, not necessarily the bad message.
I guess, but that doesn't make
guess.
that doesn't make sense. So all right, so here we go, right? So like I'm gonna keep mentioning terrible subjects, and I'll play both sides just so you have an understanding of it. Child pedophilia. How do you feel about that? It's bad, right?
It's a no-go. It's a no-go. No matter how you spin it, there is no good side of that. Like,
What are you talking about? It's legal in many countries, more than half of the countries in the world. A child.
I
Go ahead.
feel sorry for those countries, but currently where I stand, even if I was in that country, I would still feel some kind of way about it. But hey,
Well, no, you
probably no-go.
You probably wouldn't, and the reason why is because your social construct of your country or your.
And then I'll be that one that rebels against the family and probably gets stoned to death.
You don't know that. That's the funny.
I do know that.
You definitely don't, because your environment and how you were raised is how you are today.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's not a maybe. It's facts. You literally were built off your family, your environment as you were growing up. That's who you became. Then you add the knowledge of other worlds. Maybe in your later life, after you choose to explore something like that, to see what other people are doing, maybe you'll find something wrong with it. But if you're
would you be okay taking a child bride at the age of 4? Are you saying if you lived in a country because your father's a king, that you're okay with having an 8-year-old bride?
If you're asking me personally, no. Because
I'll find you and get you.
no. I'm not afraid of you. But the most important part right now is that based on the culture that I've been through and I've seen, I know for a fact that's wrong. But there's people
that you're a king's son, and he said take this 8-year-old as your bride.
I probably won't touch her until she's like of age or some shit like that. But it doesn't change the fact that I'm marrying this kid because my father told me so. My culture says it's okay.
Right.
And I've been raised to think that that's okay. Do you see how culture and how you're brought up plays a point? There's a lot of people.
It definitely does.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to point out. And I don't want to always make this conversation about religion, but let's be real. There's a lot of things in the Bible that's good and bad. When you pick and choose instead of look at everything in its entirety, like I'd rather take everything in its entirety, good or bad. I don't want to pick anything out, because if you know somebody, right? What if you found out that your significant other is a rapist, but the only thing that you knew about him is he was a good dad and he provided for the house and everything, but he was a serial rapist? See, you don't want to just pick he's a good dad. That doesn't make up for the fact that he's been raping.
No, right. You gotta go. That's it.
That's what I'm saying. You want to take everything in its entirety. You don't want to just you don't just want to just pick and choose, and that's why I don't like.
Well, that's where it goes back to the Bible. Even if I know the Bible in whole, it doesn't mean I have to go with the part that says I have to kill his wife just to be happy. No, I'm gonna erase that part. And go with the part that I see fit for my current life, my current living situation. Now, if I'm overseas somewhere and it says go kill somebody's mother, and that's my religion, that's how we practice, and then drink the blood of the lamb, that's what I'm going to do because that's my environment.
No, that's true, but I don't know, man. There's just too much inconsistencies. Like I want something that I can feel proud of in its
life
entirety.
Is not going to give you anything you're happy with. You got to make the most of it.
You want to know what? Life can't give you a bunch of things to make you happy.
It ain't going to give you nothing. You got to find your own happiness.
Nah, I'm not gonna say true love or anything. That's not true. But
No, we're not
I,
going to. That's a whole other conversation. That should be your next topic.
I
Life versus love.
like love. Love
Life
is
versus love.
love is a hard subject. It's a
No,
real.
it's not.
It really is. People
Quickly.
kill for love.
People
Like
kill for love. They kill for lust.
that too. But on either side, like it's not easy. It is not easy.
It's not.
You know, I don't want to say that love is simple because it's far from it. People can endure the greatest of torturous situations, and they can also kill and do terrible things for it. So to say that love is simple is not true. You want to know what? I believe for it to be not true, and I hate using that term because it's not right. It's just your
It's
feelings.
not right.
You know what I mean? Like that, and that's where I'm at.
With love.
Yeah, with love.
That's not how I view love. I view love as just for the but when like somebody, that's a whole other level. People put too much power again into this word, and
Into
people throw it around like it's nothing, and they throw the word love like
a love, right? That
love.
real feeling, right? The real feeling, and it sucks because real and feeling kind of contradicts each other. But yeah, that real feeling, like you know that for a fact, you know for mothers that actually care about their children, there's a unconditional love there.
Of
It's
course.
it's a source of strength for a child and for the mother, or for the mother too. I'm just gonna say parents because I don't want to make it seem like mothers only love their kids. You know, fathers,
No, that's love their kids too.
yeah, dads love their kids too. You know, and it sucks because love can be so complicated. Like I'm pretty sure you know a person that's with somebody that shouldn't be with them.
Of course.
So you know, for us to say that love is not complicated, they would endure that kind of terrible situation for the person that they love, regardless of if that person is treating them like trash. And I hate it because I see it all the time, and it kind of disgusts me. But love versus life, that does sound like a really
No,
good.
love versus like. Yeah, it's different.
You
It's
want
different.
it just might be my next podcast. Well, my next podcast actually is gonna.
Make sure you do a shout out to Catafly.
Oh, oh no, definitely. I'm gonna give you a shout out definitely for the next podcast. It will be on an uncomfortable subject. I have two men that let's say that their way of thinking about women is not in the best or the most appropriate, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna bring them on the show, and I'm gonna argue with them because the way
Okay,
that
what day is this? I
uh,
want to be a fly on the wall. What day is that?
it will be next week Friday. I always record on Friday.
On Fridays. Okay.
Yeah, and I will also give you the link to my YouTube channel. Please like and subscribe, share, and make other people like and subscribe.
Okay.
For those that are listening right now, because we're actually gonna wrap up this podcast.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
you know, is pushing past your original limit, and you've been really really good.
Am I? Yes.
Yeah,
I'm at the door.
don't worry, you be with them soon. For everybody that's watching the podcast, I'm sorry that this is like one of my short ones, but I hope that you guys come back next week. We'll talk about women, especially from a man's perspective, and you know we'll take it from there. Um, you guys can follow me at rantsadvice .tv/Twitch, or you can look for me on YouTube at Azor Frost. And I have all of my podcasts that I previously had. This is, I believe, lucky number 8. I definitely gotta check before I start talking a lot of trash. Please like and subscribe, and I appreciate you guys being with me today, especially you, young Myisha. Hopefully, I call you back on another podcast. Hopefully, you be available. And guys, until next time, let's learn together, let's grow together, let's keep talking.
All right. Good night.
All right, good night, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.
Ja.